What are interesting things we noticed from this mods record? The first thing we notice is, as we talked earlier, all the elements, when you use them in a XML document or a RDF document, we need to let the computer know its namespace, right? But in this case, we see all those elements are used to just using the element name. There isn't any namespace prefix. Why? Because in the declaration lines where the namespaces are declared, and we see this declaration of a namespace without prefix. Unlike this one, you have xlink as a prefix pointing to the full URI of a namespace. But in this case, there isn't a prefix defined, which means any element used in the body of the description that without a prefix coming from this namespace. So it's implicitly saying that all those elements were coming from mods namespace. It does not need to spell out mods for every one of those elements. It's only because they declared it as the default namespace. Okay, so that saves you some typing if you declare a default namespace. Second, what we notice, one thing is different from DC, Dublin Core element set. We notice that in mods, they are a more complex structure involved. For example, title element have to occur inside title information element. So there are some elements are nested inside other elements. This would form some hierarchical structures, provides more detailed information. For example, in this case, the title about this website. You could also add, according to mod standards, subtitle inside the title information. Every element inside title information tags would be something related to the information about the title. And we also see some other examples. For example, when we look at the subject, in the subject element, you have sub-elements like topic and geographic. So in the subject element, you can refine subject as topical subject or geographical subject and provide information for those sub-elements. So the structure is more involved in mods, and all those are defined in the schema. The third thing we notice is the use of controlled vocabulary in mods record. Here, when mods talk about date, in this record it specifies this value, this date, is composed according to international standard ISO 8601. This will make the interpretation of this date very clear. This is 2002 July the 2nd. You will not, any computers knowing ISO 8601 wouldn't interpret this date as 2002 February 7th as European or Australian people would do, because the standard tells the computer how to interpret that result, that string, the date string. And we also notice another place that the language using the standard ISO 6339-2B, using standard three-letter code to represent languages we could find. So what we see here, mods defines that the mods record have to be appear in XML format. You could use it in RDF, but the official recommendation is to use XML. So that's something slightly different from DC.